Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, it's David here and welcome back to another video. Today I'm excited to talk about something that doesn't excite me. That doesn't make much sense. Anyways, I'm here to talk about SMT and I'm talking mainline Shin Megami Tensei and the future of the spin-offs that are coming out of this series. I'm worried, you guys. I really am worried for a lot of reasons, and the main reason for me talking about this today is because, well, let's look at it together. ATLUS, so this is the official account for ATLUS, they just tweeted that we're done with the 30th anniversary of SMT with a great art piece from Vandy here, which I worked with before on the channel for a thumbnail. Great artists here, you can check them out on Twitter. Great stuff, beautiful art piece. But hey, ATLUS West here saying we're wrapping up the Shin Megami Tensei's 30th anniversary art with Vandy's spectacular piece. Thank you so much again to all of our featured artists and community members who continue to support us over the years. We couldn't be here without all of you. Happy SMT 30th. And because they acknowledged the end of SMT 30th, a lot of people were sad that there were no game news, no new game announcements, nothing. At the end of the day, with Persona's 25th anniversary, which was one hell of a ride, we got Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royal released on all platforms. We had Persona 4 Arena get ported to a lot of platforms as well. And of course, at the end of the anniversary, it's not part of the anniversary, but we got two other Persona games that were announced. And basically, a lot of games were revealed and released during the Persona 25th anniversary, but for SMT, nothing. And it made me want to revisit a 2-year-old video that I made called I Am Worried About the Future of Shin Megami Tensei Spin-offs. And today, it's kind of a similar video, but back then when I made the video, it was talking about the Persona series reached 15 million copies sold worldwide throughout all its titles, and SMT 5 was not released at that point. Now, Persona 5 Tactica is right around the corner. If you count Royal's re-releases, it makes Tactica the 7th Persona 5 release. That is crazy to think about. You have vanilla Persona 5, you have Persona 5 Royal, you have Persona 5 Royal on multiple other systems, the re-release, right, the remaster, you have Persona Q2, you have Persona 5 Strikers, you have Persona 5 Dancing, and now you have Tactica. So that is 7 Persona 5 release. Persona 3 is getting a remake with Reload in February, and there's nothing in the near future or even in the late future that we know of for mainline Shin Megami Tensei or other SMT spin-offs. And it's crazy to think about it, because if you look at previous SMT releases in terms of mainline, in 2020, 3 years ago, we had SMT 3 Nocturne HD Remastered, which was released on Switch, PlayStation, and PC, and that was a crusty-ass port. It really was very crusty looking. It was running terrible on all platforms. And regardless of that, the game sold a lot of copies on all platforms. It was a huge success for how small of a project and how small of an investment ATLUS made into that project. And ever since that game released and was a success, we had no other HD remasters of other SMT games. I reviewed a Digital Devil Saga 2 a couple of weeks back. Make sure you check that out if you're interested. I was speculating back in 2020 that the next in line releases for HD remasters at ATLUS would be Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2, because they use the same models and same engine as Nocturne. They already have voice acting, unlike Nocturne, which makes them prime candidates to bring back in a low effort port job and potential high revenue like Nocturne HD. But hey, no, nothing 3 years after, which was crazy. Maybe they're not too confident in SMT anymore. But then you look back 2 years ago, which was SMT 5's release, and for SMT 5, well, the game broke records in months. In 3 months, SMT 5 on Switch alone outsold all previous SMT releases, spin-off and mainline combined. It sold over 1 million in a matter of months on one system only. Biggest mainline SMT success ever for ATLUS. And ever since then, nothing. No sequel to SMT 5, no SMT 6 announcements, and most importantly, no port to other platforms. SMT 5 is still stuck on Nintendo. No PC, no PlayStation, and no Xbox for that one. And then, obviously, to top it all off, you have the SMT 30th anniversary, and hey, nothing. No ports, no announcements, no nothing. It's crazy. You can even look at last year. Last year we had the release of Soul Hackers 2, which was a sequel to Devil Summoner Soul Hackers, which is a 25-year-old Sega Saturn game that was ported to the 3DS a couple of, let's say, a decade ago. I think it's 2013 already or something that game released. And Soul Hackers 2 is pretty much a reboot of Soul Hackers, but they called it Soul Hackers 2 for some reason, dropped the Devil Summoner name. So I know it's kind of like a Devil Summoner spin-off and not an SMT spin-offs, but it still is a game that resembles mainline SMT. And that game flopped last year. It completely flopped. It released on all platforms but Switch, and it still flopped. That is problematic. And right now in 2023, October of 2023, I'm looking at ATLUS and their upcoming releases. I'm looking at what they did for Shin Megami Tensei in the last few years and what they did for Persona in the last few years, and I'm worried, y'all. I really am. Let's just look at like 15 years ago or so, they were pumping out those releases, right? There were Persona, of course, but there still was mainline games that were coming out. SMT4, SMT4 Apocalypse, you had Strange Journey, all of that released. You had also spin-offs. Devil Survivor was great. Devil Survivor 1 and 2, I mentioned Digital Devil Saga. The Raito Kuzunoha games, so many spin-offs, and now we're here and we're struggling to get mainline games, but we're still getting a 7 Persona 5 game, and I don't want to sound like I'm crying, but I think it is a fair assessment to say ATLUS is not putting as much effort into mainline as they used to be because Persona is just that much more popular. And you hate to see it as an ATLUS fan. I am personally a bigger fan of mainline SMT than Persona. I'm still huge into Persona, don't get me wrong. I'm looking forward to Tactica and to Reload as well, and I'm gonna freak out whenever Persona 6 gets revealed, but still, it's like, man, what is going on? Soul Hackers 2, it's probably, I'm thinking Soul Hackers is done, you guys. ATLUS was planning to have Soul Hackers as a third pillar IP for them, next to Persona and Shin Megami Tensei. And at this point in time, I'm thinking Soul Hackers is done already. They put effort into 2, and it was a huge flop for them. So I'm not thinking they're going back to it. I think if they still wanted to give it a chance, there would be a port to Switch. Because you look at SMT5 sales, you look at Soul Hackers 2 sales, and SMT5 on one platform sold so much more than Soul Hackers 2 on 4 platforms. Well, 3, PC, Xbox, PlayStation. So you would think if ATLUS was still showing interest in Soul Hackers and was still a little confident in Soul Hackers, the game would have gotten a port to Nintendo. That never happened, and I'm not thinking it's gonna happen anytime soon, to be honest. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think Soul Hackers, done. SMT, I'm hoping, well, obviously mainline isn't going anywhere, but I'm still hoping they try and give us at least a new spin-off or a new remaster. But looking at the timing of things, looking at what they did in the last few years, regardless of their huge success for Nocturne HD and SMT5, I'm thinking ATLUS is not interested in going back to mainline SMT or to SMT spinoffs anytime soon, and that is, to me, a huge bummer. I think that's an interesting topic of discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed the little video that I made here today. It's a busy time of the year. There's a lot of releases, so any support that you guys can show is a big help. If you can comment and let me know what you think of the subject today, it would be a big help. And if you want more RPG content, ATLUS or more, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell as well. I would really appreciate that. And other than that, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great week. Bye.